Hello everybody and welcome to the next chapter of the career mode here on the channel. We have a new beginning here in season 3 of the Cup Series where we have now joined Hendrick Motorsports and the number 24 car. Very excited to get this season underway here at the Daytona race weekend. Here's the Xfinity team that I could not show you from the last off-season video, but we have Rheem as a sponsorship also running the number 24 here on the Xfinity side of things. But we come through into the Daytona 500 weekend where we'll kick things off with Jay Cook.
I've got Gary Owen on the line for a few moments to talk about the upcoming season and his switch to Hendrick Motorsports. Gary, how was the off-season and what's the expectations going into this season?
Thanks for having me, Jay. It was good. We just got in Daytona a few weeks ago, and we've actually ran the Rolex 24 this year, so I was very excited doing that at Daytona. Quite the learning experience, to say the least, but yeah, it's been a good off-season. Doing the Rolex was just kind of good to get us in kind of to the race mode going into the Daytona 500 here, coming up very shortly. So very excited. I mean, the expectations this season are to just get as many wins as we can, easily get into the playoffs, and go try to win that championship, unlike last season when we came up just short with that unfortunate DNF. But we really proved and showed what we had there with that JGR team, and I'm confident we can go to even higher levels here with Hendrick, so we'll see what we can do.
Thanks for your time.
All right, there you had it from the Jay Cook Show. Now that we were just on here, as we are here for the Daytona 500 weekend, I kind of split things up a little bit here to make it more like a real race weekend. But we just kind of got into the practice zone here, got into our 24 car for the first time for our first practice. There you see the Razor paint scheme on the car made by Renato, and it looks incredible if you ask me. So very excited there as you see some other modded cars around us, the 88 of William Byron, as well as the 5 of our teammate of Kyle Larson. But we would get on track and do some practice here. Now, as I was around Bubba Wallace, the 95 of Harrison Burton, who's into that car this season. Then we had the 32 of the Corey LaJoie up there in front of us as he remains at that team this season. Now, as that team could likely disappear maybe next season in the career mode, we'll have to wait and see. But I was confident with the car, so I brought it to the pit lane pretty quick just to kind of practice a green flag pit stop in case that happens. I actually sped there on the practice, so that was a bit unfortunate. But then we came through into qualifying here a few days later in Daytona, and we decided to actually run all 2 laps to see what we could do. I put a custom setup in the car for qualifying, and it would pay off because we came through to cross the line here with a 46.073, and we qualify P39, which is the best qualifying effort we've ever had at a plate track here in the career mode. So one positive to build off of there is we barely, ever so slightly, beat the 00 there of Quinn Hell for that 39th position. As you see, the rest of the qualifying order here for the Daytona 500 coming up now, as we're going to go into the top 10. Anthony Alfredo, a rookie, rounds out the top 10. Some other rookies like Zane Smith up there, Brandon Jones, but Ross Chastain and Matt DiBenedetto will be on the front row here for the Daytona 500. But next up, we have the Truck Series and Xfinity Series races to take care of, and as you guys know, just like last season, we have a custom truck team, and now, of course, an Xfinity team. But for the Truck Series, we are going to continue the subscribers being in every race for the Truck Series. On the Xfinity side of things, it's going to be split up between myself as well as some of our Hendrick Motorsports teammates throughout this season here in the Xfinity Series. But we come through here into the Truck Series where we had subscriber Dylan Arnold in the truck here for us today in the Next Era Energy 250 at Daytona. Now, as of course started at the very back of the field, even with a custom setup for the 500 qualifying, we only went P39. I don't know what else I could have done to the car. I really don't necessarily know a whole lot about setups, as I usually just use preset setups, but I did what I could, and we actually got 39th out of it. So I mean, I guess I did something right. But we come through here into the truck race down the back straightaway on this first and opening lap. Dylan immediately up the inside there, trying to make some moves here as it goes down this backstretch, 3 wide in front of him. Some minor changes to the roster here in the Truck Series this season in the career mode, but a lot more on the Xfinity side of things as well as the Cup Series. We had like 10 changes or so, I think, in the Cup Series roster. Now in the Xfinity, there was probably about 6 or 7 that I went over in the last episode. Now, as you see there, Dylan actually going below the yellow line, but he did not get called for it because he got forced down there a little bit now, as there was no penalties handed out whatsoever for that, but he was now now moving his way quickly up on this inside lane here, as fortunately when we switched manufacturers from Toyota to Chevy this season, we were still able to bring over all of the improvements that we had made over last season with this team, so we do not really miss anything going into this season. We don't have to go through a rebuild process or anything, which is very fortunate for us. And as we came through a little bit later in the race, Dylan Arnold continuing to work his way through the field. He had now climbed up inside the top 10 past that 40 truck of Ross Chastain as he came through side by side down the backstretch with him, as we had Clay Greenfield up in the mix as well, as he was right on the back of the 38 here, and I had Chandler Smith in that truck for this season. Of course, you'll see some cars and trucks and whatnot still have the old name that the game actually has put in for that specific car or truck on the kind of nameplate on the back window, but we will still of course have different drivers in those vehicles now as we came through actually to the final lap here in Daytona for the truck series now, as now there you see Dylan out of turns 2 right on the back of Joe Nemechek now as he goes down this back straightaway. He was hoping to have a chance for victory. Of course, not going to happen now, as him and Joe were draft partners, and he was trying to find a way around Joe here on this final lap, but Joe was going wherever Dylan was going now as we go down into turns 3 for the final time here, and the next Era Energy 250 through the center of 3 and 4, and of course it's not going to be enough for a win, but it's still going to be a great finish, a great way to start out the season as it goes down this front straightaway. Some contact actually with Joe Nemechek. He's sideways there through the tri-oval. He saves it now as Dylan Arnold comes through to finish in the 4th position. So a very strong start to our truck season here now, as we would hope that we can carry this over into both the Xfinity Series side of things as well as the Cup Series side of things. But it's going to be a little bit tough in our first Xfinity race at the minimum, because we go into this completely fresh, where we just had to try and buy enough chassis and whatnot and improve the car as much as we could before this race, and unfortunately we did not get it to a point where we would have liked, but I decided to run this Xfinity race for the first race of this brand new Xfinity Series team, and this is honestly likely only going to be a 1-season team here on the Xfinity side of things. I'm looking into potentially starting a Cup Series team next season in the career mode, but I will not be the driver, so keep that in mind. Of course, with mods, there's a lot more kind of opportunities here available for us as we get underway here in the NASCAR Racing Experience 300 at Daytona. Wasn't the greatest start for myself, of course. We started at the back of the field as we were behind the 18 as well as the 39 of Ryan Segan. It was the 19 out in front, and that is not Brandon Jones this season, by the way, as he has moved up into the Cup Series. The 19 is now driven by Derek Kraus here for Joe Gibbs Racing. We have Christian Eckes, who's moved up into the Xfinity Series here in the career mode as well. Sheldon Creed up into the 10 car, moving up from the number 2 truck last season. And then we have Kevin Magnussen, an F1 driver that has moved over to NASCAR to try it out for a season in the number 22 car, replacing Austin Cindric, who's now moved up into the Cup Series. And then we, of course, have Sam Mayer replacing Zane Smith in the 9 car at JRM. And then Haley Deegan replaces Todd Gilliland in the 98 for Stuart Haas Racing. So Haley Deegan, in her rookie season, she came up just short of the Truck Series Championship last season, as she picked up 2 wins in her rookie season and her only season in the Truck Series. But we come through now towards the later part of this race here in Daytona in the NASCAR Racing Experience 300, and we had really just gone nowhere throughout this race. This was actually on the final lap, and you can just see, just because of the lack of developments made with this team in the offseason, we just really struggled to move our way forwards. I'm very confident, though, within the next few races, we're really going to be able to turn up the performance here for the Xfinity team as we go down into turn 3 wide there with Austin Hill as well as the 22 of Magnussen, as we're up the inside of, I believe that was Ryan Seeger, Alex LeBay it might have been now, as we come through out of turns 4 of the inside though of Allgaier. Then we force the 3 wide up the inside of Landon Castle into the tri-oval now, 3 wide coming to the line there, as you just saw. Sheldon Creed might have just barely got us for P15, and sure enough he did, as we came home in 16th now, as Jeff Green picked up the victory, but that will likely be a driver that does not advance to the playoffs, as I doubt he'll stay in the kind of points position he needs to be in. But you see a lot of rookies up there. We had Haley Deegan up there, we had Sam Mayer, Derek Kraus, and then I think it said Christian Eckes was up there in the mix as well. So some strong showings from them drivers now as we, though, get ready to go in to the Daytona 500. Daytona International Speedway in the Daytona 500, a race that has just so much prestige, so much history from the past years now, as you think about just key finishes at this racetrack. Most recently at 2016 with a photo finish between Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. The 2020 Daytona 500 had a thrilling finish. Now as just so many just memorable moments have happened at this racetrack, and we look to change that as well, or add to that I should say, today here in Daytona as we get ready for the next chapter of our Cup Series career with Hendrick Motorsports in the number 24 car now, as we're going to get ready to go green here at Daytona International Speedway. Lots of large roster changes to keep in mind coming into this brand new season here in the Cup Series, like Eric Almirola reuniting with Richard Petty Motorsports going to the 43 car, William Byron to the brand new Dale Earnhardt Jr. ex Jimmy Johnson team, now called Earnhardt Johnson Racing in the number 88 Exalta Chevrolet Camaro. Eric Jones moves over to the new McLaren team, joined by his teammate of Zane Smith, a rookie now to the series. Kyle Larson moves from the 43 car over to the 5 for Hendrick Motorsports, becomes a teammate with myself as well as Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott. And if you ask me, that is a very stacked lineup to say the least. And you see as well Noah Gragson. He moves up to the 1 car for Chip Ganassi Racing, replacing the retired Kurt Busch. Christopher Bell replaces us at the 20. And then we got Brandon Jones, a now new rookie, into the 96 car. Harrison Burton into the 95, replacing Christopher Bell. Austin Cindric to the 21 car. Matt DiBenedetto to the 10. And Todd Gilliland to the number 6. Alright, boys, let's go have our first great race together here with this new team. Excited. We had a good offseason, great preparation. I know that we got a great team here, and hopefully we can come out at the end of today, maybe a Daytona 500 winner. There you heard our first radio transmission of the season to our new team here at Hendrick Motorsports as we're ready to go green for the Daytona 500 now, as we're going to be P39 as Ross Chastain and Matt DiBenedetto lead the field to the green flag as we're underway from this 39th starting position right behind the 49 of Chad Fincham, who is a winner of the Daytona 500 from a few seasons ago in our rookie season in the Cup Series here. It's hard to believe we've already made it to our 3rd season in the Cup Series now as we go down into turn 1 here now on episode number 99. Hard to believe we've really come this far already in this NASCAR Heat 5 career mode now as that we are underway. There's been quite a few changes that you guys have seen, especially with mods coming into play now as we go down this back straightaway on this opening lap. Our former teammate of Martin Truex Jr. on my outside, and many of you might be wondering how much time does Truex have left in this career mode. Definitely a driver like him and Kevin Harvick, 2 of the main guys really to watch out for, to be really the next ones to retire, I think, from the career mode, as you saw quite the stack up there from our teammate of Alex Bowman and Ryan Blaney as well there in that Penske number 12, and that would move us already up into 32nd place here at the end of the first lap, as I was kind of linked up here with Chad Fincham going down towards the first turn, as it was now the 32 of Corey LaJoie actually out in front, so he took the lead on this opening lap away from Ross Chastain. DiBenedetto and Chastain must not have had a great start, but we came through down the back straightaway now towards turn 3. Now I'd gotten up the inside of Chad Fincham now as we also try to get up the inside of the number 3 of Austin Dillon, and we're going to now move into the top 30s. Just up ahead you see the rookie of Austin Cindric, and in front of him the rookie of the year from last season, Chase Briscoe, in that number 14, who picked up 2 victories in his rookie season, and those wins were actually back to back now as we go down this front stretch to the inside of Daniel Suarez for that number 99 Trackhouse team. I don't really expect to see huge improvements from that team this season compared to last season, but another team I would really watch out for to really make improvements is the 43 team of Richard Petty Motorsports, as well as the 23 of the 2311 Racing with Bubba Wallace behind that wheel now, as we came through though a few laps later now on lap 5 in stage 1, now up into the top 25. Just continuing on our way, we had now gotten up the inside of Denny Hamlin. We had a McLaren in the mix of Zane Smith, McLaren's first ever race in NASCAR, and they have a lot of funding coming into the season, so I expect them to easily be a playoff contender, maybe a potential race win contender, as we had 4 cars right here linked up bumper to bumper. Timmy Hill, myself, Quinn Half, as well as the 17 of Chris Buescher, as we are just going around this bottom lane making some serious time here, as we are just all, like I said, linked up bumper to bumper as we come through down this front stretch. Still pretty close now as Buescher is a little bit disconnected from the back of the 00. But just in front of Timmy Hill there, you see the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Busch, our former teammate and last season's champion on the outside there, as he is now a 3-time champion. Kyle Busch is only 1 championship away from tying Jeff Gordon, who just so happens to be my all-time favorite driver now as we go down this back straightaway. But here we are in the number 24 car. We would like to be the one to keep Kyle Busch away from tying Jeff Gordon for a 4th championship now as we came through. Passing Kyle Busch, we got up the inside of Stenhouse. We just kind of continued to follow Timmy Hill. We even had actually trouble up in front of us there as we come through out of turn 4 already in the Daytona 500. Tyler Reddick has blown a right front tire. He's gone into the outside safer barrier. The caution out as Noah Gragson currently leads the race here after passing the halfway point in this first stage, and this is going to force a late stage restart, and nobody was coming into the pit lane except of course for the driver of Tyler Reddick that brought out the caution. I'm assuming he must have ran over something, because it's a little bit early to have some tire issues, isn't it? That's a little bit concerning. Just keeping in mind there, like, it's definitely early to be having a tire issue, so only can assume Tyler Reddick must have run over something now as we get ready to go green here. Right behind that, number 66 of Timmy Hill, as the green flag is back out, and this already gives us just 3 laps to go here in stage 1. As this whole first stage, of course, has just been us working our way through the field from 39th position on forwards now to 17th place up the inside of the pole winner of Ross Chastain. Wasn't a great launch for myself there as Timmy Hill opens up a bit of a gap between himself and I, but now we get up the inside of Matt DiBenedetto, joining that Stewart Haas Racing team in the number 10 car this season. He has sponsorship from Smithfield, as well as Eric Almirola has sponsorship from Smithfield. So 2 Smithfield sponsored cars in this 40 car pack throughout this season now as we go down this back straightaway. Kyle Larson in the number 5 for Hendrick Motorsports, our teammate right there in front of us. Very excited to see what Kyle Larson, myself, Alex Bowman, as well as Chase Elliott can do with this team as we're up the inside of Christopher Bell, who actually keeps that number 20 DeWalt paint scheme from last season that we drove. Now very excited again to see what a driver like Christopher Bell can do in that 20 cars. Of course, today's not really going to be a legitimate showing of what all these drivers are capable of in their new cars, but of course when we get into the next handful of races, we're really going to get a nice idea as we have worked our way into the top 10 with 2 laps to go in this first and opening stage. Right up in front of us there, you see Eric Jones in the McLaren car, moving over from Hendrick this season from that 88 into that 02, and we would continue though to get up to the inside of Eric as we were approaching now the final lap of stage 1. It was Noah Gregson, William Byron for Earnhardt Johnson Racing, and then the 41 Cole Custer, your top 3s. I now look up the inside of Timmy Hill as we came through to start the final lap in stage 1, up the inside of him through the center of turns 1 and 2, and now we will pass the number 66 of Timmy Hill, move up into P4 as we close in on the back of Cole Custer. We're going to look to the outside of him. There we had a huge run down the backstretch now as we also get a bit of a pull from the leader of Noah Gregson as we try to clear Custer, but unfortunately cannot quite clear Cole down into turn 3 as we're now side by side with William Byron into the corner, but it's not going to work out as we have no help. Noah Gregson leads the way through 3 and 4. I get back down to the bottom behind Cole now as Eric Jones is just behind us in that 5th position as we come through down the front straightaway, but it's Noah Gregson who is going to come through to win stage 1 as we come through to cross the line in the 4th position. But after starting P39, 4th at Daytona in stage 1, an incredible way to start off this race as we have definitely shown a lot of speed so far early here in the Daytona 500. Noah Gregson, though, was in that number 77 car last season in the career mode. That 77 car completely gone now, replaced by a McLaren car, and now he moves over to Chip Ganassi Racing after Kurt Busch retired, starting off the season great there after winning the first stages. Everybody comes into the pit lane here for 2 cans fuel as well as 4 tires, and you're going to notice some modded cars that I have, like the 88, keep in mind, for instance. I replaced the 13 car of Ty Dillon with the 88 car. Ty Dillon not even in NASCAR right now in the career mode I have, but so basically you're going to see the number 13 on the track map and whatnot, and in the points on that 88 car. I will get that fixed in the future, so keep that in mind. But now on the track map and stuff, if the 88 is out front, you'll actually see a number 13. But for the start of stage 2, we're going to go into the amped segment. There was the amp segment, basically a crank it up, but our own now as we go down into turn 3. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you like that, I can definitely keep it around. We've tried it before, but yeah, let me know if you guys really like that, having that there. You saw on the initial restart right there, Joey Logano went through the middle, was just going so much faster than the rest of the field. I got out of the way because he is actually still a rival, carrying over from last season in the career mode. So I got out of the way immediately, seeing how fast he was. I knew he was just going to drive into the back of me. But we would stick with our teammate of Chase Elliott. Then we had help from Zane Smith behind us, and we were making up a good chunk of time here on this bottom lane early here in the second stage. It was currently the 88 of William Byron leading the way. Now, as you can't really see it right now, but it does actually show a 13 leading the field. But I will get the numbers fixed for that on the track map, as well as hopefully in the point standings and whatnot. So it'll actually show an 88 for that 88 car on the track map and stuff. Now, as we come through out of turn 2, still glued to the back of our teammate Chase Elliott here as we push him down this back straightaway. Joey Logano on the outside using that drive from the 88 of Jones, trying to clear the 51 of Joey Gase as they go down into turn 3, but it would not work. We would pass Bubba Wallace. Then we get up the inside of Logano, and fortunately I was a little bit concerned here that we were going to make some contact, but it did not happen, thank goodness, now as we go down this front straightaway. So we now move up into P4, passing Logano, the 2018 champion, now as we would get Elliott up the inside now with the 51 of Joey Gase, and we just kind of continued to stay glued to the back of him as we had a bit of a moment there, but we have some help now coming from behind from Smith on the exit of turn 2. As you saw me clip the apron there through the center of 1 and 2. Fortunately, it did not affect us too much as we had that help from Zane Smith, but we came through now on lap 7, trying to push Elliott to the inside of Byron there, an affiliate teammate Byron is, keep in mind, so he's really still a part of the Hendrick Motorsports team, but I was doing my best to push Chase past him because Byron just continued to go up to the high line for some reason. So we come through now on lap 8 down the back straightaway. I push Chase to the inside of William Byron as we go down into turn 3. Smith and Cindric glued to the back of us now, 2 rookies right behind us now as we come through the center of 3 and 4, leaving William Byron behind as he was just hung out to dry. No help at all for him as we exit turn 4, and we now move up into the second position. So Chase Elliott leads the way now as the crowd roars, seeing Chase Elliott out in front here in the Daytona 500 now as we go down this front stretch with just now 5 laps to go in stage 2 as we're right on the back of that 9 car now as we go down into turn 1. Have a huge push from behind from the 7 of Smith. Now we actually get into the quarter panel of Elliott as we exit turn 2. He's a little bit sideways, he saves it, but now we move to the lead. I did not mean to even get below Chase Elliott, but I was just kind of pushing up the track, and then I was trying to keep the car still on the bottom, and unfortunately I looked to the inside of the 9 there. It was just a bit of a mess now as we would now hold on to the lead though as we came through on lap 10, approaching just 3 laps to go at this point here in stage 2, trying to hold off Zane Smith, a rookie that is hungry for a stage win, as well as another rookie who is side by side with him right now of Austin Cindric as we exit turn 4. Cindric with a big push now as we go down this front stretch. He's got Bubba Wallace behind him, and he is now maybe going to clear us, as he, and sure enough, does clear us, but he comes down for a moment, but fortunately he moves back up to the top to stick with the 23 of Bubba Wallace, who's showing a tremendous amount of speed so far here in the Daytona 500, but fortunately we have the help from Zane Smith, who pushes us back out in front, and so far Zane Smith doing a great job in what is his first Cup Series start here with the McLaren team now as we came through to start the final lap now here in stage 2, and it is pretty much dead even behind us there for that second position. Smith and Bubba Wallace even as we go down into turn 1 and 2, but I would expect that outside line to get a better run down the back stretch as you saw me clip the apron there through the center of 1 and 2. Sure enough, there you see the 23 of Bubba Wallace getting a big run now as he's got help from the 21 of Austin Cindric as we go down this back straight away now, as we are going to get another push though from Zane Smith as Bubba was clear for a very brief moment in towards turn 3, but he did not drop down, and now Smith is going to push us back towards the front as we come through out of turn 4, and sure enough Bubba does not have enough help, so we just got to hang on here as we go down this front straightaway, still getting pushed by Zane Smith into the tri-oval, and we are going to come through to win the second stage here in the Daytona 500. Now a playoff point already as we won the regular season championship last season, a bunch of wins, a bunch of playoff points, and it gave us a lot of confidence going into the playoffs, and we hope to continue that into this season.
Hey Gary, you stay in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes sir, what's going on?
Nice stage win there. Starting off strong once again this season. Think you can pull off this Daytona 500 victory?
I mean, I hope so. This is our 3rd attempt at it. Of course, the first one with HMS, and we just know how much speed Hendrick Motorsports cars have coming into this race. So definitely expecting to be in the running here at the end. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what we can do, and hopefully we'll come out of this with the win. There you heard a quick interview with Jay up in the booth there for the race on TV now, as we would come into the pit lane there for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 tires again, and come out of the pit lane here in P1 for the start of the 3rd and final stage here in the Daytona 500, which we are now in command of as we get underway. It is going to be 16 laps to go here in the 3rd and final stage. Zane Smith, Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott there behind us in 2nd through 4th, and then we have the 21 of Austin Cindric rounding out the top 5 as we go down into turn 1 now. Bubba Wallace last season was an affiliate teammate of ours. That team showed some potential at points in the season, but really started to pick it up a little bit in the playoffs, and I continue to expect to see them pick it up as this season goes on, and I would expect to really see them in the playoffs and maybe compete for a win or two at some point this season as well. Now, as Bubba, he kind of commits to staying with me, but William Byron now, he is actually coming up through the middle, trying to get back up into the mix at 88, showing a good chunk of speed here in Daytona all day long so far, and William Byron looking for that first career win still, because we started the Heat 5 career mode before William actually picked up that first career win in real life at this very track here now as we come through down the front straightaway, coming through to complete this first and opening lap, as we put this number 24 Razor Chevy Camaro out in front in command of the pack here as we go down into turn 1. And there you see the 21 of Cindric to the outside now of the 88 of Byron. He has help from another rookie of the 6 of Todd Gilliland, who replaced Ryan Newman, who just retired from the career mode, along with, of course, drivers like Kurt Busch, David Reagan, as well as Brendan Gaughan. And now Cindric, he's getting a huge push, passes me, and actually get hung out there down the back straightaway by Bubba, who went to the middle, and he passes me with help from William Byron. And now we have the 22 of Logano, our rival, who gets to the back bumper of me. He hit me so hard into the corner that he actually, on the car status indicator, turned the back bumper yellow there by just how hard it drove into the back of me. Here's a go down this front straightaway. He hits us again and now forces me up the inside of our affiliate teammate William Byron. Now in this third and final stage, things starting to ramp up a little bit now as I was trying to help out my teammate. There's Logano, nearly hooked us into turn 1, and now we save it, and now we are now forced to the outside. First race of the season, and I see exactly how he's going to play it. I'll wreck his if I need to. There you heard a little bit of frustration from myself on the radio now. Not very happy with Joey Logano, who just tried to hook us in front of the field, basically, into turn 1 in the first race of the season now as we came through now, showing off the new and improved visor cam here in the career mode on lap 38. I tried to make my own little, like, almost like you're inside the helmet kind of camera. Let me guys know exactly what you think of that as well. Now as we come through the center of turns 1 and 2, there's a little bit of contact with our teammate Kyle Larson now as we still remain on this outside lane. I had an opportunity to drop down to the bottom right here, but it seemed like it might actually work for a moment here, so I kind of stuck with the 22 of Joey Logano. There you see it says draft partner 13 car. That's what I was talking about earlier, where it's actually the 88 of William Byron, but it shows the 13, which is the car that modded car replaces. So I will, like I said a few times already, get that fixed hopefully now in the next couple episodes as we go down this front straightaway through the tri-oval right behind that 22 of Logano now as we get out of that visor cam, now staying in front of that 7 of Zane Smith now as we go down into turn 1. Just over 10 laps to go here in the Daytona 500, and it is currently a rookie out in front of Austin Cindric, but unfortunately I really should have dropped down earlier because we kind of got stuck up here on the outside now, and we came through on lap 41, and we were now down into P12 as Daniel Suarez. He was getting up my inside in that number 99 Trackhouse cars. Came through the center of 1 and 2 as Martin Truex Jr. goes spinning right there, and we nearly get taken out with them as a caution is going to come out now as he goes crashing in the background, but really just a solo car incident. He did hit a few cars, but we got through that. Thank goodness. That was a very close call, as I'm going to show a replay from the actual visor cam here of just how close that was. Oh my god, guys, that was way too close of a call. I thought we were going to DNF just like I did in Phoenix. A close call indeed now, but before we show the replay, I'm just going to show the stuff we did on the pit lane here. I put half a can of fuel in the car as well as right side tires now. I wasn't sure if the other drivers were going to take tires or not, but I felt like, of course, 4 would be too much, but I thought 2 would be a good way to go. So before we get going here, we're going to check out the replay there just from my visor cam. Like I said, you see Truex, he just loses a tire, and look how close that was there as you saw him in the window net. That was so close. I moved to the right just in time as I was able to catch it now, as though in the next race here before we get going for the restart, it will be the second race of the season at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Very excited to see what we can pull off there, as that is definitely one of my favorite tracks on the NASCAR schedule, out of the mile and a half, I should say now, as we are getting ready to go green. We actually lost a handful of positions on the pit lane, but it was only 5, and instead of starting on the outside in P10, we get down to the inside in P15 now as we are underway, and now just 7 laps remain once we cross the line here in our third attempt at the Daytona 500. the 96 of Brandon Jones, the rookie, right in front of us there now as we make this run down towards turns 1. Already 3 wide in front of us between Jones, as well as the 99 of Suarez and the 88 of our affiliate teammate there of William Byron. As we go down into the corner, Austin Cindric holds on to that lead just in front of the 5 of Kyle Larson. Larson and myself both looking to start our Hendrick careers here with a win in the Daytona 500. And right now, Larson is in the best position to do so. He's moved through into the second position as we go down this back straightaway, but you see some McLaren up there in the mix now as we go down into turn 3, trying to re-enter the top 10 as quickly as we can, as Kyle Larson takes the lead from Austin Cindric through the center of 3 and now out of 4. So Larson to the lead in that number 5 HendrickCars.com Camaro here as we go down this front stretch right behind Brandon Jones, and we will continue behind him as we continue down the back straightaway, but then I finally make a move up the inside. Time to really get aggressive now. 3 wide as we go down into turn 3. Chad Fincham there as I actually hit a bump and it almost shot me up into the side of the 96. Fortunately, that did not happen here as we come through the center of 3 and 4. Now up into 7th place up the inside of Tyler Reddick, who blew a right front tire earlier. He did not DNF. Truex did not DNF either from that wreck that just happened. Now as we're now 3 wide again up the inside of Blaney, passing him, passing the 21 of Austin Cindric, right to the back of our rival of Joey Logano as Kyle Larson continues to lead into turns 1 just in front of the number 7 of Zane Smith, the rookie, looking for the win now as I would now get a big run on the back of Logano. I knew we were going to go nowhere behind Joey Logano, of course, him being a rival, and if I try to pass Joey on the inside, he's just going to crowd us and probably try to wreck us now as we get to the back of our teammate of Larson. Now we are draft partners with Larson in the number 5, but now Zane Smith to the lead with help from Joey Logano as we exit turn 4, but I'm realizing right here that this is not going to work with Larson, so unfortunately I hang him out now as Logano looks to the inside of Smith as we go down this front straightaway here with 4 laps to go in the Daytona 500, 2x2 right here from 1st to 4th as we are looking to get our first 500 win. Logano won the Daytona 500 back in 2015 in Jeff Gordon's final season, and he looks to do so again here today with the 2022 Daytona 500 victory. Some help from Logano's teammate from right behind us there. The 12 of Ryan Blaney pushes us down the back straightaway as we go down towards turn 3, approaching 3 laps to go. Smith doing everything he can to get into the mix and hold on, but it is not going to work on that outside lane. He needs to be having some help in very quickly, but it really did not seem to be happening as we came through now through the center of 1 and 2 on lap 48 there. You saw Smith actually side draft me, pulled me back, but then Blaney came in to the rescue, pushed me back out front now, but it is now 2.5 laps to go, and we have to give it everything we got here if we want to beat the 22 of Logano. We have a big run down the back straightaway into turn 3, but not close enough to make a move up the inside there as he covers it off very well now. As the way I look at it is we're probably going to have to wreck Joey Logano here as we come through now. A lap and a half to go in the Daytona 500 now as we go down into the back straightaway to the inside of Logano there as we had a run, but it's not going to be enough. I get right on his quarter panel, but he stays clear as we just have no help from behind, as I'm just hoping so bad that Ryan Blaney is going to get to our back bumper as we approach the final lap here of the Daytona 500 as we exit turn 4, as I'm trying to pick up Blaney as a draft partner, and sure enough we do pick him up as Logano and myself come through to start the final lap of the Daytona 500 here, as Blaney really needs to get to our back bumper, as though I'm still trying to stay within that draft from the 22 of Joey Logano as we go down into turn 1, 3/4 of a lap to go here in Daytona as we look for a first 500 victory, but it's not going to happen as the caution comes out on the final lap and ends the Daytona 500 early here, unfortunately now, as Joey Logano will get his second ever Daytona 500 victory. You've got to be kidding me, man. I cannot believe that. I had nothing for him. I was doing everything I could, just full throttle, and I could barely close on him. Sorry, guys, but yeah, that really sucks it ended like that. There you heard myself just a little bit annoyed there with just how that finished now, as I was just hoping it would stay green. I don't know if we would have gotten Joey, but you saw earlier with 2 laps to go, I got right to the back of him, looked to the inside, and then as soon as I got to the inside of him, he was actually able to re-clear himself over me, as we just had no help from behind. But there you see the finishing order on your screen. Some big names down the list a little bit there. Chase Elliott down in P23, Alfredo the rookie in 30th, Truex down in 29th, Kyle Busch, Hamlin, a bunch of Joe Gibbs racing cars down in a very rough position, Ross Chastain in last as he continues his bad season luck already over into the Daytona 500. Now, as we do lead the points though, so starting the season off right now, as we're going to actually go into a post-race interview here to do with Jay Cook.
Runner-up to your rival in the Daytona 500, Gary. What did you need to pass Logano there?
A turbo or something in the back of the car. I don't know. It was just like another level from the 22 there. I got to the back of him with the draft, and then I couldn't pass him. So yeah, that was really unfortunate. Overall, though, a good day for us now. Second place in the Daytona 500. A little bit annoying there, especially it ended under caution. Who knows what we could have done into 3 on the final lap, as we did have his draft, and we might have been able to close up enough, but it probably would have been some door slamming with Joey. But overall, a good day, and I'm excited to go into Las Vegas next race and hopefully have a good run there. Maybe get our first win of the season. We'll see what we can do over there. All right, there you have the post-race interview between myself and Jay Cook. Very short and sweet now. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. And we're going to, of course, check out the point standings here in all 3 series before we end this one. Jordan Anderson picked up the win in Daytona for the Truck Series, which I actually forgot to mention at the very start there. But he is going to be likely locked into the playoffs, as he should still be able to stay in the points kind of like requirement to get into the playoffs with a win now. As you see the Xfinity Series, Jeff Green won there, and Derek Krause, Haley Deegan, Sam Mayer, Christian Eckes, a bunch of rookies there already up in the mix. So a strong showing from rookies on the Xfinity side of things in Daytona. But now we get ready to check out the Cup Series standings. Logano, of course, locked in already as Zane Smith. There you see it says 62 for him. In the future, it will say 7 for the McLaren, as well as the correct kind of number picture for the other modded drivers as well. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. I appreciate you all checking out this one, taking the time out of your day to watch this episode, and in the next one we will go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for all 3 series. But before we end it, I just would like to say a quick thank you to the Go and Racing members of MJ, Aiden, Tony, Dylan, Joseph, RJ, Timothy, Bubba Jr., Mr. Johnson as well. You guys really help out a lot. And a reminder to the members to make sure to get into the Discord and let me know, and I'll get you into that as well. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Have a great day, everybody.